Welcome to the Week 6 training. With this video, we are officially halfway through the regular season. We got about 4 more weeks before we, start breaking into our playoff selection crews, our area selection crews, and really start gearing up for the playoffs. So, let's jump right into it today. So we're going to start with some holding on the wide receiver. We're watching this one here at the bottom. The feet are good until they're not. And when those feet no longer become good, that's when we got to see what's going on with the hands. So, as long as the feet are in between the ball carrier and the defender, everything's good. As of here, the feet get beat. So, what is he doing once those feet get beat? It appears that he has his hands outside the shoulder, and he's just got a good hold on him, and he's just driving him illegally while he's got a hold on him. And then he drives him out of bounds, and it springs the blocker. I mean, driving him, that alone is not a hold. But if he's got a hold of his arm like that, like he appears to do, that's when it becomes a hold. And you can see it springs a touchdown. So that's one we probably should have called. Well, definitely should have called it. That's got to be the deep to make that call. Similar situation here. We're watching that. It becomes, what happens once the feet are beat? What is he doing? And it doesn't have to be much of a hold. Any kind of grasp once those feet are beat, that's when it becomes a hold. So with the feet in between the runner and the defender, the hands are outside the shoulder pad. We're not really concerned about that while the feet are still good. But once those feet are beat, if he still has a hold on them outside the shoulder pads, that's when we have a hold. So you see the defender trying to get away, the feet are beat, and he's still got that hold on him. It's not much of a hold, but it's enough to get that defender to kind of grasp out. And once he bounces out like that to beat the defender, well, then that's when we have the actual foul occurring. So we're going to watch action around here. This was called a block below the waist, but I don't believe it's there. It looks like the initial contact was high, so he kind of hits the arm and then he slides down. That is not a block below the waist, and it looks like the umpire probably saw the tail end of it and thought maybe after seeing that tail end that it was probably a foul. But it's one of those where we see the whole play, we know there's really just not much there. Alright, let's watch the snap here. So initially I had this as illegal. Talked to a couple folks and they talked me out of it using some good rules, knowledge, and philosophies. So basically when we have plays like this, we're looking for one fluid motion of the snap. And that's all we had to have. We just had to have the one fluid motion. The reason I originally thought this was going to be illegal is because I thought the shoulders and the head turned before the ball moved ever so slightly. But if you go by the letter of the law and the rule, that's not what we're looking for. We really just need one fluid motion. And to be sure, it is hard to snap like that and not move your head and your shoulders. That's just how your body operates. So this should be legal. It is, as long as we have one fluid motion like this, and it's backwards. Also, it has to be backwards. Then it's legal. So it looks like they let it go. So good job by that crew. All right, a couple of things to look at it here. Remember a couple of years ago we talked about offenses when they shift out like this. They can do it, but if the defense jumps off sides in any way, then the foul's going to be on the offense. So everything's good here. The offense does that. Defense doesn't jump. They don't cross the neutral zone. So everything's good with this particular play. This one's different. One does. And the flag here should be on the offense. So if they're going to line up and do the shift and all that, or they jump like that, especially this one guy, how he kind of jumps up This one right here. He's really going to kind of jump up. You know, that's illegal if they're going to really kind of simulate the snap like that and the defense jumps off. Then the foul is going to be on the offense. So I think on this one they threw it on the defense. That's incorrect. Let's flag the offense on that one. Alright, let's look at a couple of defensive pass interference. We're going to watch the inside receiver go across the middle. And that is DPI. It should have been called. But I can understand why it wasn't. And we're going to break this down. This is the other view from the other press box. We're looking at this guy. And this angle we still have, I think, is still a DPI call. Should have been defensive pass interference. But in a crew of 6, I think this is a very hard call to pick up. For one, remember we are inside the red zone. Okay. Remember, anytime we're inside the red zone, we're going to hold our keys a little bit longer than we normally do. So we break the key down. This is a crew of 6. So he's your field judge's key, your line judge's key, headline judge's key, and then your side judge's key. And the receiver that gets interfered with is the headline judge's key. So we really want to hold those keys a little bit longer. I can see where the headline judge may have, he may have picked this one up right here. Went into man zone ball maybe a little bit earlier than we wanted to. But like I said, remember we want to hold your key longer once you're inside the red zone. For this one, well, many reasons. This is one of them, because things like this happen sooner. You want to officiate the threat. This guy is not a threat. He's not being covered really yet. This guy, there is a threat because he's going right into 2 linebackers. So that's why we will want to stay on him. Side judge has got this guy. Field judge has still got this guy. Line judge is keying off this guy. So this still really hangs on the headline judge. Like I said, I know it's tough, but in a crew of 6, crew of 7 would probably pick that up better. At least I hope. But we still, at the end of the day, it is a missed pass interference call. It is late in the game, so we got to get those. All right, here's one that's a little bit more difficult. This one, there's pass interference, and then there's also a tipped ball by the defense. However, the pass interference comes before the ball is tipped. So in this situation, this is where we really have to have communication between the officials, and we have to know what happened first, that the DPI occurred before the ball was tipped. And that's just, you throw it, you talk about it, and see what happened first. But in this situation, the DPI occurs before the ball is tipped, so you would still have pass interference. Alright, let's go back to a little bit of roughing the passer. They want to roughen the passer right here, but this is a good no call. This is nowhere near roughing the passer. Some of our coaches are kind of getting that mindset of the NCAA where a hit low on the quarterback is automatically roughing the passer. Do not have that rule in high school. So this is just a good no call. That is not roughing the passer. We had some video a couple of weeks ago where we talked a little bit more in depth about roughing the passer. Here's another one. That is roughing the passer. Referee official correctly called it. The ball's well away. Defender has time to let up. He chooses not to. And then, like I said, it's a good call by the referee of hitting that. That's all we look for, is the defender have time to let up. If they have time to let up and they choose not to, then we have roughing the passer. This one's a little bit more difficult. What I don't like about this one is pretty quickly after the ball is thrown. But if you watch, and this defender's good. If you watch this defender, he waits until after the ball is thrown to lower his head and deliver a blow. And it's not much. I really would like to see the whole play and see what happens here before I say yay or nay. This should definitely be a roughing the passer. But I don't like that this defender waits till after the ball is released before he lowers his head and delivers a blow. In that case, you know, if it's a substantial enough blow, then we should have roughing the passer. Going back to the theme of seeing the whole play before we make a call, let's watch this action around the ball. We call a blindside block on this one, an illegal blindside block. And in actuality, what you have is just a defensive player who's trying to make a ball. He kind of make a play, kind of gets knocked off balance and runs into a guy. You know, there has to be a level of intent on a blindside block, illegal blindside block, before we throw it. And we just don't have that level of intent here. And again, I think this is a case of we saw the end of the play, we didn't see all of it, and we decided to throw a flag based on what we saw rather than the whole play. It happens, but we have to watch the whole play. Look at some late hits out of bounds. We correctly call this. This is good. You can see he is pretty much let up. He's in the grass from the defender. He's outside. And then we get a hit that's late. Actually, you know, that one's close. Then I slow it down. Full speed, it looked late. And he's definitely letting up. I'm still going to usually go in the air on the side of caution. Also, I don't like he's lowering his head like this. We got to get these players to come in with their head up. And then I would probably also throw a UNS right here. Anytime an opposing player is going to be in the bench and they're going to taunt like that, we need to pop that with unsportsmanlike conduct, because that's how fights start. So anything like that, opposing player in the bench and they're going to make a gesture or taunt like that, let's go ahead and pop that for 15 yards. This is the same play, just closer angle. Pretty good high definition here as well. I think you definitely got helmet to helmet contact. Maybe that's what the call was, helmet to helmet. Definitely support that. Late hit out of bounds is a little iffy. We always err on the side of caution. This one is not much, but it is still late, and it's still an extra effort. And that's kind of what we look for when they go out of bounds. Is there any kind of extra action, extra push that could have been avoided? And you have that here. It's not a hard hit, but it's a hit. It's in the back. It's late, and it takes the player to the ground. So, good call there. All right, back to my alma mater. I don't remember that scoreboard being there when I was there. I'm glad they put my alumni dollars to good use. Here, we have some action out of bounds, but what we want to look for is there anything extra? So, he gets wrapped up in bounds. He's kind of driven out. And at this point, we're just looking for extra action. Is there any kind of extra action that takes him to the ground? Nothing. There's nothing really here. So this is a good job of not calling anything. And also I like how far off the deep official is on the pylon. If you're at the camps, you heard me say, I like my toes on that restricted line. To me, there's nothing, you almost never be too far off. So good space there. Good job of not giving up that pylon at all. And again, there's nothing really there, no extra action. So good job of not calling anything on that one. And here you just see another angle. Nothing really extra there. So good job of not calling it. Alright, you hear us say all the time, this is not a hurdle, that's not a hurdle on a runner. To me, there are very clear and strict guidelines to what we would have to call hurling against a runner. And this is one of those rare forms where I think you actually have it. To me, you have to have that foot out in front, like a guy hurling over hurdles. To me, that's the only time you would ever call hurling on a runner. When they do the little split or whatever, like the Georgia running back did in the Notre Dame game, that's not hurling under high school standards. There has to be that foot out in front of the other. I think that's what the rules stipulates. And here you have it, foot right out in front of the other, because that's dangerous. He could hit a kid with his foot. But this is the only type of hurling on a runner that we would support you calling. Anything else, we're not going to punish a player trying to go all out to get extra yards for his team. And, when they do the little split like that, and they're not putting another defender in danger. I mean, maybe themselves, but that's on them. But this foot out in front of the other, leaping over a kid like that, probably want to flag that. But that's the only hurling on a runner I think you would ever flag. Alright, a lot of stuff that I dissect on this play. A couple things, really. First of all, we should have shut this down. See this receiver, the one that catches. That's a false start. It's not much. Sorry, but that's a false start. Also, deeps. This is crew of 6. The inline is threatened here. So we may want to move off the pylon a little bit, unless you think you have a good enough angle there where you can see it. Now I see this a second time. Maybe he's okay. Yeah, maybe that's okay. Use your comfortability. If the inline to you, if it's threatened, you don't think you're in a good enough position from the pylon to see it work your way down. Looking at this a second time, I think the official's in a good position. He can see that. But good job. It is a touchback. But again, we should have shut that play down from the beginning. Alright, so remember, the quarterback is a back. Alright, so he can move forward. But if he does so, he has to be set for a second. This flirts with a second. I'm going to tell you, use your judgment here. But they do this, again, like I said, they are back, so they can go forward. He's got to be set for a second before he snaps it. Same thing here. And I don't think that's a second. The first one is close. I'll let you use your judgment on that one. This one you have 2 in motion. As long as they're set for a second, we're good. But I mean, if this is a second, it's a quick one. I don't think this is a second. I think this should have been flagged. Because they both have to be set for a second. Don't just watch the quarterback. 1/1000. Yeah, it's close. I don't know. That's close. Looks like they flagged it. So I'm going to support that flag. A couple of things on this play as well. Should at least have running into the kicker, I think. End zone view shows you a little bit more. Now, if he is blocked into the kicker, obviously it's a little bit different. This it's hard to tell even from the end zone. It's hard to tell. He looks like he's diving, but then also he kind of looks like he's pushed into the kicker. That's hard. I don't like that he makes contact with the plant leg. But I mean, that's a tough one to make. But then you got number 28 as well. He comes in virtually untouched and makes the contact. So you probably should at least have running into the kicker. But of course, I am a formal kicker, so that's I like to protect them. A couple of things too. Deeps. I'm not sure why we're so wide here on a field goal attempt. You need to be behind the goalpost. And the reason being is if there's a ball right over the top from right here, you can't see that. So remember, according to the rule, the ball has to be completely inside the uprights in order to be considered good. If you're out here outside these uprights and that ball is on top of it, you can't see whether or not it's completely inside or part of it's out. All right, so this, you know, I don't like this. I don't know where we're getting this from. So, you know, I mean, it's good for 99% of the field goals, but if you get that one where the ball is over top of the upright, I mean, you're guessing. So, let's get behind the goalpost. This is a good call. I think they make the right call. I would like a little bit more selling by the wing on getting that right. And good job working with the goal line. Yeah, I think you make the call right. Just a little bit more, have a little bit more selling point there, but the call's right. At the end of the day, that's what's important. All right, weird play here. Get a fair catch, good fair catch signal, and then got a muff. From the faraway vantage point, it looks like you could be close to KCI. Zoomed in, there's no contact. But also remember, you can have a verbal non-contact KCI. Now, obviously, we can't tell that on film. That's up to the officials on the field. But everything else is good. Good job by the field judge of trying to get in position to see this. But yeah, it's definitely a muff. Definitely a recovery by K. I don't know what that returner's pointing at. But, you know, unless there was some kind of verbal, you know, something to make him miss, you know, he didn't touch him, so. And everyone's in good position. Oh. Did I say a beanbag? Yeah. Umpire. Why are you throwing a beanbag on a kick? Let the beanbags be up to the deeps. This is not a beanbag situation. Remember, beanbags has to be a catch and a fumble. This is just a muff. Do not beanbag muffs. I mean, I admire the umpire being down there and helping out, but do not beanbag a muff. All right, this is a kickoff. What I want to talk about here is this deep here. A couple of things. One, we want to stay off the sideline. And two, a little more hustle. This looks bad. I don't want to call anyone out on this film. I really try not to. But, you know, stay off the field and let's hustle. You should be proper mechanics on a kickoff. For D's, once the ball is kicked, you know, jog about 10 yards downfield. And then at this point, you should be in your back, just kind of backpedal like you would on a regular scrimmage play. And then that way, you know, I'm not going to say we beat this kid to the goal line, but we're a lot closer at doing it than here. So, stay off the field too, most importantly. All right, a couple more. What I want to look at here is holding on the receiver, watching the inside receiver. Coach wanted holding on this. You know, that's, I'm probably not going to give him holding on that. However, watching this receiver again, this one I think the coach has a lot more beef. Yeah, that's definitely holding. I don't think it crosses line of DPI because I don't think he's doing it when the ball's in the air. Definitely have holding right there. So, you know, again, crew of 6, that's hard to call. Because I think both deeps have players running deep, yeah. That's on the headline judge. So it's hard to call on a crew of 6, but we gotta get that. I mean, he's being held pretty blatantly. Remember, blocks in the back, a lot of times they don't have to be hard hits. They just have to be an illegal hit in the back that disrupts the player. So we're going right here. It's not a hard hit, but he shoves it in the back, knocks him off his rhythm, and he misses a potential play on the ball. So this should have been called. Again, this is one of those blocks in the back where it doesn't have to be much, but pushed him in the back, knocked him off his rhythm enough where he missed the potential tackle. So this is a good no call for a horse collar. Anytime they're taken and they're kind of twirled around like that, you're most likely not going to have a horse collar. Remember, a horse collar's got to be pulled and then pulled straight to the ground. And there you just don't have that. So you know, he's going to kind of throw him and sling him around. So that's a good no call for a horse collar. Going to have a similar situation here. Then we have another good no call for horse collar. You know, there he just kind of grabs him on the side of the shoulder, and then again kind of twirls him around, kind of spins him. Yeah, that's again a good no call for a horse collar. You know, we want to see, you know, really grab him inside the collar or now the nameplate and pull him straight down. That's what we're looking for. All right, last one. Watching this one right there. That is a delay to me. He's got to come straight out. The little side step, the up side step, and then down. That should be a block below the waist, in my opinion. Remember, they got to come straight down, straight out, and they kind of come up and then go down. You know, that's got to be a block below the waist. All right, that's it for this week. Good luck this week. It's still hot here in Georgia, so please stay hydrated. Give the players water breaks as well, and stay safe.